Welcome to the Hughes Roundtable.
Everybody.
Well, how y'all doing out there? We want to come to you with another roundtable discussion. We want to first start off by saying welcome, and secondly, we want to put a disclaimer out there that we're not ordained ministers, we're not pastors or counselors. We're just everyday people creating a podcast for everybody to be able to come together and talk and reason together. That's why we're doing this with a husband and a wife and our daughter. So we just want to help people. So when we come to people and people want answers or want to sit down and just talk to us, that's what we want to do. We don't profess to be anything other than that. We ain't been to no seminary or anything like that. We took no classes. So that's the disclaimer we want to give. And, we want to start off by saying that. So our first episode coming to y'all is Scared, Gifted, and Faith. And that's what we want to talk about. And each one, we're using Scared because you should be using fear. But back in the day when we grew up, we used Scaredy Cat and stuff like that. So we saying scared, Scared, Gifted, and Faith. Yeah. So we believe that we have a daughter that's gifted, wife that is gifted, and we are gifted. God gives us gifts, but if you're afraid to use them, and then you don't use faith, then you're going to be in a world of hurt. I was reading something the other day by an author named Max Lucado, who was talking about fear. And there's good fear and bad fear. And he was saying that the thing that moves some people is fear, especially when it comes to praying, So a lot of times gifted people are so gifted, they don't know how to separate things to go, what gift do I go after? They haven't spent time and put time in, with the gift that they should focus on, You agree with that, Nina?
I do. I agree. And not long ago, Michaela and I was talking about how when you are afraid, it can cripple you and keep you from being able to do something. And I shared with Michaela how when we did our CD in 2003 and we were going somewhere for the very first time to sing the song, and I was so sick to my stomach, it was like I had the flu. And you had told me, Michael, you don't have to worry about it. We had everything on track in the background, but we were going to be singing together. And I knew I had to push beyond not doing it. And though it could have been very easily not done, it was known, move beyond the fear that you're having. And I mean, I was sick that it didn't seem like I was going to be able to make it that night. But the important part of it is being able to push beyond the fear so that whatever it is that the Lord wants you to accomplish, that the next time you'll be able to move forward. And then that also that when another opportunity arises, that if you say no or allow being scared or the fear to capture you and keep you, that you won't move forward with anything. So not being able to be crippled by not wanting to do something. And it really wasn't as bad once we done it. I mean, you would have thought that it was a life or death situation, but all you were doing was getting up in front of people and singing. So it's a gift that God has given to you, and then the faith to be able to do it, and then making being scared, afraid, or the fear taking the back seat and just moving forward with whatever it is. So it was a blessing to be able to do it. And then that helps you to grow in that area where you are able to say, I have grown a little bit, and it's still always going to be there, but it's also humbling to know that we are human, and that even the greatest of the vocalists, the pastors, the actors and actresses, you're not doing it in your own strength. God is the one that has given you the gift to be able to do it. And I know just going to work every day, it's not me that is doing it, but God that is giving me the ability to do it. So I do look to him, but push past the negativity to be able to make it.
So you still afraid,
Sometimes, yes.
even going to work?
Sometimes.
What you afraid for?
You have things that you have to do, goals that you have to accomplish,
At work.
deadlines at work, and
And you
sometimes,
afraid going to work?
yeah, and sometimes there are, sometimes there are new assignments that you have.
So that means that there's something you facing that you probably don't want to face at work, whether
Yes.
it be people or the task, because there's a difference between fear and anxiousness. So there's a difference between if you're being and they're so close together that a lot of times, you anxious because you want to complete something, and then you fearful for the people that may get in, that what you might do at your job, that people will impede on you. Don't play with me. that people will impede on you getting your work done, and then you fearful for what you gonna say to them because you don't want to misrepresent God. So they're two different things, but they run together. That's the truth of the matter right there. Been there.
And the bottom line is all of that running together, it's a negative. Whether it is actually fear or it's the anxiousness, whichever of the two or them combined together, it is a negative. And we have to be able to move beyond what is negative to get accomplished what needs to be done, and then the next task that comes at hand. It's always a process. Our faith should always be growing. Our gifts, we should be able to see ourselves growing in what the Lord has given us. But we have to be able to get past the point of the negative to be able to have the accomplishments that the Lord wants us to have. And are we able to do that? And can we not focus so much on what the task is or what the obstacle may be that may stand in the way, but what is your assignment? What is it that you have to do? Because if we stay focused on what the negative is, sometimes it can be so crippling that we can never make it to the place to even get the first process done. And you may have 10 steps to get to, but because you're thinking about all of the obstacles and how you're feeling emotionally, your body being all out of whack, everything is all out of tune, you can't even make it to step 1 and 2 to even start the process of getting the assignment completed.
Well, that, there's good fear and bad fear. It really is. Sometimes that fear is just not going to leave. It's not. It's not going anywhere. So that's just another emotion you're going to have to deal with. I believe that God gives us all these emotions, and it's up to us to work all of them out. We and a lot of times you find yourself having to turn all these emotions which are going negative at you, you got to turn them into a whole bunch of positives, because it's hard work sometimes. All depends on if you know yourself or not. If you know your makeup, it's very, very, it could get very difficult and debilitating, like you just said, and therefore the gifts never come out.
No.
Now you jack. When the gifts don't come out, you jack. Now you gonna be resentful, envious, hurt, and you're gonna be all jacked up because you couldn't get beyond yourself to get these gifts out. Therefore, this is why we need a helper. We need God. We need God for him to show us our gifts first, for us to realize them, and for us to accept the gifts. You must accept that you are gifted. Take a minute, take a minute, take a minute, take a minute, and take a minute for you to accept those gifts. Now, once you get all those gifts, now you got to separate them. Are they better than me, or am I better than them? And God, blah, 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 blah. Stop it. Stop it. Focus on one gift. Do the one gift. Have confidence in God, not in yourself. That way you can stay humble and go after the gifts. Go after the gifts because they can be overwhelming. They really, 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 really can. A lot of times I've seen this, and this is how you are, Nina. I've seen people be so gifted that they love the Lord so much and they want to go after the things of the Lord that the Lord don't even show them how gifted they are. They could be walking and operating in their gift until they take their very last breath. And the Lord never reveals to them that they are gifted because they are so focused on pleasing the Lord, just pleasing the Lord, and therefore he gets the glory, and therefore the best you and the best gift comes out of you. You get that. I've told you and Michaela many, many, many times that y'all got the full package. Now, whether y'all use that or not, that's a whole totally different story. It took a lot of good, hard, strong work for y'all to start using your gift, because you had to wrap your mind around the fear. Don't talk to me about it, because I've dealt with it with y'all for a mighty long time. This is one of the reasons why we wanted to do a podcast, because I heard, listening to podcasts over about a year, how liberating and stuff it is, and then somebody like me, who can be considered cocky and arrogant, and know that I got the gifts, and the Lord got to bring me down. No. You are messing around, take my glory, and I ain't having that. So I had to be brought down, and y'all had to be brought up, I had to be, and y'all still got to keep being brought up, Sometimes, depending on what it is, y'all's arms got to be twisted heavily, but the Lord has
That's
need
a
of you.
word right there.
Yeah, it's got to be real twisted. Both of your arms got to be.
Yes.
Remember, they used to put us back, put your arm behind your back. I'm gonna
Whole
twist your
pretzel.
arm, And y'all got to
Yeah.
do that. But look at the greatness and the good in that other people will receive, and God will get the glory. And y'all don't have to work on no humility or nastiness or meanness coming from the stage or whatever kind of audience y'all get in front of. You ain't got to work on it. Some people like me can be perceived, which I don't.
You're not.
You can be perceived as that, especially in our culture and community.
I believe that you're the boldness of who you are in God and the stability of the mind that you have in Him can do that. And sometimes, because the word tells us, don't be cocky about when we know that God has us and we are His children, that our boldness sometimes can turn into look like to others, and sometimes we do have to be broken down because we are human.
Mm-hmm.
But your love for God brings you to that place that, first of all, if people don't know you and haven't had a relationship with you, and folks are really being prejudiced because they're on the outside looking in, and I tell people all of the time how loving you are, how
That's
kind
love. That's
you
so
are, and how much of a help you would like to be. But I do tell them that my husband is not to be played with, that when the boundaries are made, and if people don't know what boundaries are, then you have to let them know that you don't allow people to cross your boundaries, and that keeps us as human beings in order when we don't allow people to cross our boundaries. But your relationship with God and the humility that you have, at some point, all of us have been broken by God.
But I had to be made to do that, though.
You had to be made to
I had
do
to.
it,
I had to be brought to my knees
but it still wasn't a
on-
conceitedness.
on a lot of stuff, because I literally had stuff taken from me. The love that I have for one thing had to be taken from me in order to see the love of Christ in my life. And you would think that all that He brought me out of, it would be, but it wouldn't be. But it was a necessity for Him to use me. It was a necessity because it just, because I had to do a lot of stuff on my own, and because of that, it was inside me to move and to do with on my own. And I believe that a lot of men are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Any go-getting, self-made man is like that. And in order to be greatly used, I found he got to be brought to. It's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
I am. Would you think so, Michaela, or do you know anybody? I don't know if you know anybody like that. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know. You up there in that. We ain't gonna say. We ain't gonna say. We ain't gonna say.
No, I
Humility
agree.
is wonderful. Go ahead, Michaela.
For me, I think what I see in Dad is that he's passionate, and
We talking about me or you?
you.
about
I think
you.
you're passionate. I think that what for me translates, what other people see is it may be, I don't know. I really don't care, nor am I concerned about what they see. But I think you're passionate, and I think you believe in what you believe, and I think that translates to faith. That's what faith is. Like, I guess in our terms, passion, it moves us. That's what moves us, and that is faith in something. And when you put that faith to work, this is what you get. So I've never seen, I don't think you're conceited. So,
Not at
and
all.
I know you. So
No, I needed to have that.
Never
yeah.
have been.
And that's the thing that, like, you came from places that maybe other people that, see you in a different light didn't come from. And you're passionate. I think of all the things that you've taught me, if you were a go-getter, you still are. Like, if you put your mind to something, it's getting done. And that's
It's bad.
it.
Sometimes it could be bad.
That's
for you,
it, though. But,
It could be real bad for you.
Yeah.
I ain't kidding. It could, you gotta deal with that.
It's you have a very determinating, like you're just determined, and if you're not one of those people that just says things, it's going to get done. So that's passion to me. That's boldness. That's courageous. That's nothing like, that's not a bad quality. Those aren't bad qualities. No. And people love to turn good to bad. But for me, I've dealt with all of these. I'm dealing with it right now.
So you're dealing with all three?
Currently, yes. I've dealt with fear.
But how old are you? You said you were.
I'm about to be 23. I'm 22.
Oh, are you?
Fear is it's interesting because it can come in forms that seem logical, and they turn out to be crippling. And you can I'm a thinker, so I can literally think myself. You know, anyone can think themselves out of doing something.
Well, share with the people what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with an only child.
Oh yeah.
You're a left-brained. Not only that, you're a female, and you're a left-brained, if that's a word, thinker.
Yeah.
And you're an only child, and you're 23, and
It's a whole lot
and
going
you,
on right
yes,
there.
it's a whole, and you know, you're a female.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah. It's all over the
So
place
that's
sometimes.
what you know. That's what you dealing with yourself.
Yeah. And at the end of the day,
because you're single right now.
thank
Help us,
God.
Father. He's a good God. He's a good God.
Single and unconcerned. But
Single and what?
unconcerned. I'm not. Is
Oh,
that a
man.
word? I don't think that's a word, but
Unconcerned.
unbothered. Yeah, but fear, being afraid, anxiety I've dealt with, and I'm not one of those people that you would know. I guess that I feel that way. But you know, I'm not like walking around like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening to me." But
No, because your stubbornness won't allow that.
inwardly
You are freaking stubborn to the core.
Yeah, I am. Mentally, it
Yeah.
happens. It happens, and at some point, I've been like, you know, this is not where I want to be. I don't want to walk in a mindset of fear. And you know, I've dealt with this like at church. You know, people will ask me to do small things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with this project now where people want to plaster my name all over this project that that I led, and I don't want to do that. I don't.
Well, why?
It's
why
my
don't-
mind. My mind is telling me I don't want to give people the opportunity to put their mouth on my name,
It's shameful.
and it is.
It's real shameful.
Because
I
at the
believe.
end of the day,
Yeah.
it's either, and I've talked to Mom about this recently because
But none of y'all can't take compliments, though.
no, I don't
So
know what to do with them.
you just went even. I
It's
mean, you
just-
just went off the railroads
yeah,
with that.
it
Your
doesn't.
grandmother couldn't take compliments. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, because
Thank
I'm
you,
just like
Jesus.
I'm just trying to out here do stuff. Like I'm
no, you
not.
couldn't. What would she say? Well, Mama, you look nice. I do.
Do I?
Do I?
Thanks.
Do I?
She's all
And she meant
sarcastic.
it too. She
Yeah.
would downplay the way
Downplay
she
a
dressed.
lot. I do that a lot.
Yep, the way she dressed.
Yeah.
You wouldn't gonna see her figure. Oh,
Everything was
never.
covered.
And everything was covered.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. Holiness is the order.
Yep, holy. She wasn't going, you know, she won't be with the Lord now, but you wasn't going.
Yeah.
So you're just like that.
Yeah. And I constantly, the thing about whatever your default mindset, that's what I call it. We all have them. We all get in a low, and my battle has been fear, and that is my default. If it's not working out, then I'm afraid, and it's just not going to happen at the end of the day. And right now, while I find the balance between, you know, knowing that I'm human and I have emotions, but I choose not to walk in fear, I'm either hit or miss. It's either going to happen or it isn't. So that's just how I deal with myself. Like, and at the end of the day, I tell myself, if I truly love to help people, if I truly want to give, if I want to see all of my gifts be available and give them to people, I can't say no to opportunities that are clearly good and beneficial to other people. I just refuse to do that at this point, regardless of. And the thing about fear is, it seems like I said, it seems so logical. It seems all the things you're saying, they make sense until, you know, you've stopped moving. You're stagnant, and so that's what I've learned. Either I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do it, and I've decided over and over again with different opportunities that I'd rather help people and I'd rather be available and open to what I love to do than let fear ruin those things for me and let fear make a name for itself that it doesn't deserve.
Yes. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Some things there's an in between, you know, and some things there's not. And fear is just not one of those things. So either I love my blessings, give them to other people, walk in that, or I don't, and I just sit back on all these gifts. But I love what I do too much to let that happen, I believe. And you just take it day by day. So nobody's saying like, and that's one thing that I've also had to learn. You don't have to, it doesn't happen overnight, but it's a constant choice for sure. So.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're gonna come back to this because it's too important, and we're gonna have a two-parter on this bad boy, because you know I think that being afraid and being fearful and being gifted and having faith, that you're talking about a contradiction and a confusion state of mind, right in itself, right there. But the Bible tells us to have a sound mind. So you know, so we're gonna end this episode, and we're gonna pick right back up where with this, you know.
Yes.
So y'all take care out there, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.
Bye.
Thank you for joining
Thank you for
us.
listening.
Everybody, we must be one. Everybody, we must be one.